evening, race fans, and welcome. It's the NORA Cup Series 2023, Season 3, Race 11 of 36. Yes, tonight, it is a short track, and it's so famous it's got its own name. The Monster Mile. It's a concrete jungle of sorts. Who will sort out the concrete canyon tonight? That is why we will stay tuned. We've got 72 laps in the first stage, 150 in the second, and 240 overall here tonight at the virtual Dover Motor Speedway in Dover, Delaware, a mile track. And it's all presented by Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery, of course. And I'm Trevor Greenfield. You're watching live here on VirtualRacing.Network, the home of the NORA Cup and Truck Series all season long. And tonight, I'm so pleased to be joined in the booth by none other than Christian Snyder. And Christian will be with us not only for tonight, but hopefully for the next foreseeable future here for the NORA Cup Series, much to the delight of all those people who have been listening all season long to just me droning on and on and on. Welcome, Christian, and great to have you here tonight.
Hey, good to be here again. It's going to be a great show tonight. Dover always has a great track for these guys. Really loose. That's the general consensus tonight. Really loose off of turn 4, so we got to keep an eye on that. And it's been a great championship battle so far with Vincent Arthur just kind of pulling away a little bit from his teammates, but Ronnie Norman obviously in contention there. And a new favorite kind of emerged the past couple of weeks, Dustin Kleba. He has success here in the past, so let's see if he can get it done here tonight.
Absolutely. Some of these names have remained at the top, but it's great to have some new names poking up in the order and starting to climb up in that championship fight. You know, should be a lot of wind out there on the track tonight. I don't think it'll matter too much as these cars not getting up too much speed by the end of the straightaway, but nevertheless, always something you have to contend with. And also just the dynamic surface here at Dover is always something that needs some extra attention, Christian. Like you were saying, a lot of these cars getting very loose off of turn 4 as they head out there and qualify right now. You think that's something we're going to be seeing a lot of tonight is battling with the handling on these cars?
Yeah, it's going to be something that's going to go on until the last lap of the race. On tires, and it's going to be the story of the night. Whoever saves the best is definitely going to have the best shot at the end of the night to win.
Well, there you go. Whoever can save those tires will be the ones that very possibly will be in the winners column, and we'll have to see if that's the way it can go. In the meantime, looking out there on the track is John Cottle. Fastest so far. We jump over to Brandon Dunford, who puts in his second lap. He'll slot into third. Cameron Thompson now slots in as second fastest. And Anthony Mackie wrapping up his qualifying effort. Where will that put him? Well, it bounces him all the way up to second in that Prestige TRD. Also getting in his second lap, well, it's the points leader and the Flatline Motorsports. Fantastic racer, Vincent Arthur. Much more to see from him coming up very soon. And now we've got Josh Conover heading out there. Of course, he runs this whole show here at NORA, but also right up there in the points as well, and a great racer both in the trucks and in the Cup Series. And right now, currently, qualifies in 8th place off of his first run. Up to see where he can manage to take that second lap. And you know, not always do you see the second lap be the fastest, but at a short track like this, you really got to ramp up your speed on that first lap.
Yeah, usually the second lap always the best. And I saw Josh there maybe try to protect from getting loose out of 4. He had a really low entry or exit, I apologize, and I think we're going to see that most of the night. People just kind of taking it easy in turn 4, because the entire practice that I was watching, a lot of contact to that inside wall from getting loose. And now we see Dustin Kleba on track. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the top spot here.
Well, he did it last week. We'll have to see if he can do it again this week. Kind of a shock, but that KPR Motorsports stable seems to have something special going on. Jared Wishon jumping in and able to really dominate a couple of weeks ago And right now, is he going to take the top? No, he takes second, but very close. Also looking at Ronnie Norman, who manages to put in a third fastest time. So now Flatline Motorsports taking first and third. And then we jump over to Brady Motes, one of our last remaining cars out there who can still put in a hot lap. He's already in 15th. Where will he go off of this lap? Well, just only good enough for 12th. But Brian Powell Motorsports enjoying some success so far in NORA Cup and starting to climb up in those owners' points as well. So with that, that looks like that's probably going to do it as far as our runners here, everybody getting in 2 laps so far. And it looks like Vincent Arthur will take pole position here at Dover. So
you know what? If this was a betting game, the top 3 qualifying spots, I'm betting that all 3 of those are in the final 4 come Phoenix at the end of the season.
That's a pretty safe bet, and I've always felt like short track racers certainly are the ones that you can kind of count on to be there at the end. It just seems like somebody who has the handle on a car that needs to get broken down for the corner and get out of the corner and get safely up onto the exit that generally is the driver that seems to have a pretty good grip on the car by the end of the season. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the points as they're just wrapping up right now. And we'll get a chance to bring it back here in just a moment and talk to you about the starting grid for tonight's race. Vincent Arthur, so far, the top of the heap, and he really has been holding on to that points lead for quite a few races. But Ronnie Norman, not that far away, just under 30 points now, but still Vincent's starting to put a little bit of space between him and Ronnie in that second spot. Brady Motes in that third spot at 395 points. And then you see Brian Powell climbing up a spot in the top 5 and demoting Matthew George in that other flatline car. And, still pretty tight throughout the field. A lot of positions still up for grab here. We'll take a look real quick at the owner points. Flatline Motorsports holding on to the top 2 spots. And Brian Powell Motorsports now climbing up into that third spot, as you can see. And so Flatline Motorsports, their third car, the number 8, getting demoted into 4th. So with that, all those points done and out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get tonight's race set for you here. Round number 11 at Dover. This is the NORA Cup Series live on VirtualRacing.Network. So as soon as we can get that graphic to show up for us, which is always fun to get. There we go. Took a couple of launches. Vincent Arthur taking pole position. That is a great run for him out of Flatline Motorsports. He can certainly see the victory from there, and he'll just have to keep it safe all night long. Dustin Kleba in second for KPR. Ronnie Norman starting in that second row alongside John Cottle. Third row will go to Anthony Mackey and Matthew George. Fourth to Cody Height. He took second place last night. He was super stoked. I think he wants a chance at victory lane tonight. Watch for him starting in 7th place tonight. Cameron Thompson in 8th. On the 5th row will be Brandon Dunford and Timmy Harper. On the 6th row, Josh Conover with Brady Motes. Starting in 13th, Andrew Stab and Joey Stats. And then in 15th, Jacob Gladelich, and alongside Jake Christenberry. Then Adam Kulikowski and Zachary Taylor, Nick Geilis and Josh Curry. And Corey Danielson will bring up the end of the field, and we are green here in Dover. We're underway, my friend.
Too wide. Yeah, it's still too wide coming out of turn 2 for the lead.
Absolutely still too wide there, but they managed to pull it back. Vincent Arthur still holding the top spot. Top 7 positions already nose to tail. And then we look all the way back to where Brandon Dunford is at, and it looks like he is challenging with Cameron Thompson at the moment. So we'll watch on to see whether or not he can hold on to that position, but so far he's climbed up there into 8th. Cameron back to 9th, and then Josh Conover. There's a little bit of a battle here going on in the mid-pack with Brady Motes.
A little bit of a bobble there for Brady, or I believe that was Timmy Harper above Brady there. He kind of got a little bit of a wiggle and chased it up the hill, but was able to keep it out of the wall. As we see behind them, we got the 91 and 43 side by side as well. And I think as the night goes on, the outside is going to prevail whenever you're too wide, because you just get the momentum off the top and you're able to clear going down the straightaway. So I really think the outside is going to work for holding positions, and early on it's going to work for passing. But as we get on, I think it's only going to be good for holding the position, as we got a battle for the lead starting to brew here.
Absolutely. Nose to tail between Flatline Motorsports, Vincent Arthur, and here comes Dustin Kleba. No, he thinks better of it, pokes his nose back in line, but here he's trying that left corner on Vincent Arthur on exit onto the backstretch. I'm wondering how long before we see a move.
I think what Vincent's got to do here is he's got to run the top side and kind of hold Dustin back, or either that mirror drive. But I think it's a little too early to mirror drive, because, I mean, we got 240 laps. So mirror driving this early might not be the greatest idea, but definitely running the top side to use the momentum might be a good idea for Vincent here.
Absolutely. You are trying to cover the competition. Certainly you want to get out of the danger zone, which is the early part of this race where everybody's tires are fresh. You want it to settle in, especially if you feel like you have an advantage, which Arthur always seems to have just a little bit of an advantage on everybody, it seems, in most of the phases of the race. But we'll see how it plays out tonight. As you said, it's a handling track. Those who save their tires for the end might be in the best position to kind of walk away with this thing. So that's certainly what I saw in some of the races this last week on the official server, and I got a chance to do some laps myself. And again, the better that you take care of those tires in the opening stint, the better that you will be towards the end. This is just this track is like a cheese grater. It absolutely wants to wear on that right rear tire and the right front tire, so you got to be careful depending on how much you step on that right gas pedal, and it will definitely determine whether or not you're going to overwear one of those corners on the car. But so far, this is staying pretty tight at the front. Vincent Arthur with Dustin Kleba just behind. John Cottle, he's gained a spot over Ronnie Norman, looking a little bit further back there. Harper Motorsports' John Cottle right now starting to take a look at possibly closing in on Kleba. So perhaps Kleba trying to get by Arthur, sensing that Cottle is still in this race. Then you jump back to Ronnie Norman. The Ronnie Norman fan club already rooting him on because he is in the top 5. Will he be able to get up into podium territory or possible victory tonight? That is a good question. Anthony Mackie doing a good job hanging on to his top 5 starting position, and that is looking pretty solid so far for that Prestige TRD number 54. Matthew George in his flatline Chevy is still holding on to 6 as well. And then you only have to look one spot further back for Cody Height, who last week, as I mentioned, Cody Height on YouTube, as he's known, was just so excited to get second place and almost got first place. Was that close. Do you see that Chad Engel had to make a momentary stop into the pits, but he is back out. And I'll tell you what, Christian, this is turning into a 3-way battle for the lead right now.
Yeah, right there going into 3, Vincent kind of chopped the nose off of Dustin Kleba. These guys have been battling for, I think, 2 years now. These two are always right around each other on the track. Definitely 2 of the best in the series. And I think the rest of the season is going to be a great show of these two just battling back and forth, because no matter where they are on the track, if it's 5th or 1st, those two are the ones battling.
Well, as you said, it was sure a great thing to see Kleba join the service and join the league here not that long ago. And as a result, the cream has risen even higher. It was pretty high before with Arthur and Conover and Norman and George and a lot of these drivers that have already made a great name for themselves. Shoot, we can't throw out Nick Geilis. He's now effectively taken the sweep of Daytona with victory for Nightmare Motorsports this last week. But It's great to have these new drivers like Wishin and Kleba join, even if it's just for a few races, get a chance to see some good stuff. And speaking of Guileless, this was just a second ago. I think we'll take a look at this one because this is Guileless up in the wall.
Yeah, that looked very strange. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe a pedal issue, maybe a steering wheel issue.
Let's see if we can take a look from Guileless's point of view here.
Oh,
he's already up in the wall there on exit, in the wall again. And he just, yeah, it almost looks like a wheel issue.
It's either a wheel issue or I don't think it's possible, but it looked like a tire blew out going into one there. But we don't have that on the service quite yet. But that was a pretty violent hit there, and I think that might end his night.
That is very unfortunate, and you're absolutely right that. Well, he'll get it fixed, but you know, at a place like this at Dover, if it stays green out there on the track and you've got to take a green flag stop, it's definitely going to put you down a few laps. So he's already down 3 laps, and that's the type of thing that's going to ruin your night. Also seeing that Josh Curry entered pit lane and is still sitting on pit lane, so Curry looks like suffering equal issues. Chad Ingles issues enough to sideline him 7 laps, and then Corey Danielson for the Capital Motor Club really only getting in about a little bit less than 3 laps, and he's already out of the race. So that's 2 of our Toyotas out of the field so far, but we'll see. I mean, Dover, the Monster Mile, is already biting. We are not even 10% of the way through this one, and we're already seeing some attrition happening, but Cottle has kind of dropped back from this battle here. He was hanging up there with the front 2, and I think...
big moment there. Yeah. He got real loose.
Absolutely. Like you were saying, getting off of these corners, very tempting to step on that pedal and get that run down the straightaway, but you do so, and it could be to your own peril if that car's not handling right. And now he's falling into the clutches of Ronnie Norman.
Yeah, and I think the reason that's happening, he pushed a little bit too early, and Ronnie was able to save his stuff up, and now Ronnie's going to be able to drive by him here if he can get a run. He's working a little bit like maybe a lane up from the corner, and I really like that line. Kind of get in low, let it drift up, and then pull it back down to the bottom. That's a great line here at Dover.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems a little conservative in terms of some of the aggression that you can do to get faster lap times, but as we were just talking about saving tires, it's kind of the Mark Martin approach, just the slow and steady wins the race sort of way to go, and taking that line that's a little bit more conservative but will pay dividends as you pick up the pace. Now, looking over in the YouTube chat room, great to have Cody Reeder checking in with us over there. He says, Dustin Kleba is a good person. So on top of being a good racer, he gets a thumbs up in the good person category, and that's why we love our chatters over in the YouTube chat room. Feel free to check in with us. Cody Reeder, a great racer as well. And shoot, why don't we have Reeder out here? Why isn't he out here in the Cup Series?
You know, I'm not sure. Hopefully he answers that in the YouTube chat, but he is doing a great job over in the Truck Series. Not here tonight, but he is he's a constant top 5 threat every week in the trucks.
You bet. So, well, another reason to stay tuned for Monday nights coming up here. In fact, this next week. But it looked like Cottle got loose, possibly up into the wall there, as he got passed by Ronnie Norman for position.
Yeah, I can't see the right side of the car, but definitely got real loose, and Ronnie was able to sneak by him here. And I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like Ronnie was running the fastest lap times and was able to tick off a few tenths to the leaders. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch them, but he definitely saved his stuff and is running really well right now.
Well, 2.62 seconds was the gap, and now I'm seeing 1.85 seconds. So as you said, it looks like, I don't know if it's as much Cottle going backwards as it is Ronnie Norman going forwards, or maybe it's both, but Norman starting to put some put some heat on those number 33 Chevy tires, and starting to close up this gap, as you mentioned. Now it's down to 1.63 seconds. So very, very quickly eroding that gap that was there before. And you can see there on your screen how that gap has eroded.
Yeah, he's definitely gaining on them, but I don't know if maybe he's pushing it a little bit too soon, or maybe Vincent and Kleba are backing it down to try to save for the end of the stage, because it is a 70, I think it's like 75 lap stage, and you're gonna have to pit in that window. I think we're gonna see pit stops around maybe lap 45 to kind of split it in half, maybe. It's just going to be whoever is willing to take the risk first to pit. I think they're going to win the pit stops, but in order to win the stage, I think you can't be the first one in, you can't be the last one in.
So it's a bit of throwing the dice here also in Delaware, but nevertheless, Vincent Arthur doing what it takes out front, having a fantastic run so far, leading every single lap. And right now, the top four are exactly where they qualified. But as we've been talking about, we're about to hit the long end of this green flag run here. And we should start to see some of this start to break apart, as we are now starting to see Kleba starting to drop off of this, off of Vincent Arthur. So I'm wondering if his tires aren't starting to go just a little bit. By the way, if you're out there in YouTube chat room, in the YouTube chat land, make sure to say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you're a fan of one of these drivers, let us know who you're rooting on. Always great to see that. And also, if you're not already subscribed, you want to be subscribed so you'll find out about next week's truck race, which is coming up, as well as next week's Cup race. And we'll have all of the NORA Truck and Cup Series action all season long. Also, smash the like button while you're at it. Helps all of the algorithm type stuff to work out. But Vincent Arthur doing what needs to be done. You know, he's from Maryland, but I think Delaware is not too far away, and I'm sure he's got some affinity for a close-by NASCAR track. I'm sure he'd love to take victory here at the Monster Mile. And Christian, this track is really different. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really race like any other track. It is its own unique sort of thing.
It really doesn't. It doesn't race like any other track on the schedule, and probably like any other track in America. This track is a concrete mile, and the only other concrete track that we have on the schedule is Bristol, which there are some comparisons, but obviously the speeds are just way faster here at Dover compared to Bristol, so there's no way to compare it. But that is the closest comparison. As we see, Ronnie has caught Dustin Kleba, and he's even catching Vincent Arthur. We see it under a second now, so obviously Ronnie saved his tires a lot better than these guys.
Absolutely, he has been this has become the story already, as just in this very first green flag stint, we're seeing tire wear becoming an issue, and the front two might have been pushing a little bit harder and starting to slow down, but here comes Ronnie Norman in that flatline Chevy. And I'll tell you what, there's another couple of flatline drivers behind him too that have been putting the heat to it. You've got Matthew George, who is back in 5th place. He's already gained a spot. And Josh Conover, it's no surprise to see him up 5 positions. Now he's making the move under Dustin Kleba. Kleba just kind of lets him go.
Yeah, I think that's definitely smart in this stage of the race. Just let them go. There's still a lot of race to go. No need to fight for that one.
So Norman obviously now able to secure that second spot, and with the Flatline Motorsports teammate of Arthur in front, back to what we've been seeing quite a few times already this season, with Arthur in front and his wingman, so to speak, Ronnie Norman behind, his tail gunner, looking out for any sort of challengers coming up from behind. But we'll see if anyone can shake loose this Flatline Motorsports juggernaut at the front of this one. Dustin Kleba, the closest driver to do so recently, as he's holding on there in 2nd place. We look a little bit further back, we got some More passing action going on here. This is Joey Stats and Timmy Harper. This is for 15th place. And we saw Timmy have a problem a little bit earlier. Now also seeing Jacob Gladilich making his first pit stop of the day and Cameron Thompson into the pits as well. But Harper, he's dropped 4 spots from where he started. So tonight, not really going his way here at Dover.
And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think he is still on probation, so he is just taking it easy out there, not risking anything.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's sort of like, and also seeing Jake Christenberry coming in. You know, when you're in official racing and you just want to get that safety rating back up there,
Yeah.
it's the exact same thing that he's trying to do. Just whatever you do, don't have an off track, don't hit the wall, and do not touch any other cars. Don't spin on your way to pit road. Just make sure whatever you do, it's a nice, safe race here tonight. And I think that's going to be the MO for Timmy for the foreseeable future, just to get out of the principal's hot seat. But Cody Reeder also checking in with us, saying he's running a part-time Cup schedule. We'll be out there next week, and that we do a great job. Well, bless you, Cody. Thank you for the compliment, and we'll continue trying to do the best job that we can. And we certainly love getting to do these broadcasts. It's always so much better to have Christian here in the booth. He brings such a great amount of expertise behind the wheel and a lot of great color commentary. But I don't know. Ronnie is getting close now to Arthur. I mean, at what point do you just say, look, I got more speed than you, Vincent. Let me by.
Well, I think Vincent, he's kind of a mentor for Ronnie, even though he's younger than Ronnie. His racing age is a lot higher than his actual age, because Ronnie has said this season has been so far amazing to learn from Vincent. So I think Vincent right now he's not going to give it to him easy. He's going to say, here, you want to learn? Pass me.
There you go. Well, for sure, and you can, I'm sure there's even stuff that Norman can learn, even if he's a little bit slower than Arthur. Just watching Arthur's line, I'd love to follow the faster driver, just to shadow him for 10 laps or so, just to figure out what they're doing and how they're working at the wheel. But that being said, if Ronnie brings something a little bit different to the table,
ooh, this might be the opportunity here if he can get to the outside, but Vincent going to cover it.
Indeed.
Vincent really loose there, and we see Ronnie about to get passed by Christenberry, who has already pit. So I think this is going to start drawing people into the pits, seeing how fast Christenberry is with those new fresh tires.
Absolutely. Christenberry, one of the fast drivers in practice here tonight. So he's a lap down at the moment, but we'll see how this all shakes out by the end. He certainly knows the fast way around, and this is where we start to get in. I mean, if it can stay green, Christian, this is the type of racing, that you really get to put your skills to the test, whether it be strategy or it be how you want to drive the car, because you're not so grouped together. You're not just, this isn't just another drafting track where, you just get right up behind the other car and stay there. This is a bit different, where you get a chance to play with strategy, but you also get a chance to really operate in your own space. And here we see Vincent Arthur, the leader, coming in, and I believe Ronnie Norman as well.
Yeah.
So Arthur,
and he locks it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he was speeding. I'm not sure where the yellow cone was, but he definitely locked up as he got to the yellow cone. So definitely an aggressive entrance there for Vincent Arthur, and Ronnie Norman going to be about 2 car lengths back, which equates to about half a second on the track. So we got to see where they shake out and see when Kleba pits. I believe he just pit now, so he's not going to be too far off on strategy. 1 lap later.
Well, 22 more laps or so, 21 more laps or so until we hit that stage. So I'm sure, as we know, a lot of these drivers very aware of when those stages are going to come up for those extra points, and so they'll definitely be wanting to position themselves. Here's Josh Conover. He's managed to save the most fuel in this run, and right now he's staying out there in the top spot. And, this is also a tricky thing for some of these drivers, because if they get trapped a lap down, If a caution were to come out right now, that would be, that would basically be game over in terms of what might happen going forward. So, or, if they get trapped 2 laps down, rather. So some of these drivers, like, for example, Conover right now is ahead of 12th place on back by 2 laps. And so if a caution were to come out, effectively he could make a pit stop and be a full lap ahead of a lot of drivers out there.
Yeah, this is the 2 strategies. Either you pit early and you get the tires and you set yourself up for the end of the stage, or you try catching a caution. And we see there's, I believe, 3 cars trying to do that there with Conover, Dunford, and Moats. And sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And especially with these guys, I don't think there's going to be a caution. So I think Conover at this point is just getting TV time here.
Well, and he certainly likes to do that here on VirtualRacing.Network, although usually it's by passing people and ending up at the front. But racing for owner points here in the NORA Cup Series, and always doing a superb job. Part of that flatline stable of excellent drivers that seem each week to find their way up into the front. Do have a note here that Mackey perhaps had an off track. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Wonder if he had a little spin or if he touched it. Yeah, he touched the grass there.
Yeah, you just got on that little bump coming out of pit road, and it can set your car a little sideways because it's very cold tires, and whenever you try to gas it up right over that bump, it snaps the car loose sometimes.
Well, either way, Conover's still out there. Dunford now pulling it into the pits, so that will end his run in 2nd place. And Brady Moats about to inherit 2nd place. And then you're going to have Dustin Kleba, who he's actually managed to get out in front of Ronnie Norman and Vincent Arthur on pit road.
Yeah, and that's impressive because he stayed out 1 lap longer than Norman and Arthur, so you got to wonder that maybe they had an issue in pit road getting in. We did see Vincent lock up coming in, so that's never a good thing. So maybe that is the factor here in giving Kleba the lead.
Well, our pit lane time not really telling the tale properly, and Vincent Arthur 12.18 in his pit box. That's a very fast time compared to everybody else. So I'm not sure. It might have been getting in and off of pit road. It might have been that extra lap that he managed to stay out there. We're not really sure, but either way, Kleba, with great pit cycle, able to get back out there in front of everyone else. Conover making that stop, as does Brady Moats from that 2nd position. And they will be giving up that top spot momentarily to Dustin Kleba, who is your new leader out of Iowa City, Iowa. 29-year-old for KPR Motorsports. He's already taken a pole position here in the NORA Cup Series. And now, well, once you take a pole, I mean, I guess you need podium position, but what's one better than that? You got to take the victory.
Yeah, and I'm going to be curious to see if potentially Kleba is going to be, he showed it earlier. He's better in the short run than Ronnie is, but we see Ronnie again saving tires. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him by the end of the stage, but if we get that last run that's over 90 laps, maybe that'll be enough for Ronnie to run him down. But I think with Kleba taking the lead here in the pit cycle, it's going to be hard to steal that lead away.
Well, I'm now seeing a gap to Vincent Arthur of 12.2 seconds, and I don't think that has nothing to do with pace. As well, actually, I take it back. Last lap, 24.62 to the leader's 23.04. So is there possibly a problem with that Vincent Arthur machine? Or was that just a slow last lap? To find out as he comes around this time, we'll be able to tell.
I'm thinking maybe he's going to stay out at the end of the stage maybe, and then try to split that stage in half. That's the only thing I can think of with these slow times, unless maybe he got into the wall on his exit of pit. but I didn't see anything that would indicate that. So I think he's just saving tire to try to stay out.
I think you must be right. And he is pedaling this car to try to save some fuel because, as you see Matthew George now swing by, his teammate at Flatline Motorsports, perhaps just really, maybe he knew he didn't really have the pace tonight. Maybe he was feeling like Ronnie had the pace, and so he was going to try to split strategy and go with a super long pit stop effort and maybe try to cut a pit stop out of tonight's strategy. But either way, Arthur now about to go down to Cody Height. And just like you said, normally we get a notification if someone's hit the wall, if they've slowed down on track, you know, if there's any sort of an issue like that, we'll get a notification. Now, if he did just ding the wall and it bent his steering to the point where it's making it difficult to drive that car, we wouldn't be able to necessarily see that. But he is about to get run over by several of these cars. So watching on board, Christian, do you see anything strange that would indicate that he's having a problem driving this car?
Not as of yet. I mean, he's still getting loose off the exit, so he is still in the throttle for a good bit. So it's not like he's having trouble steering the car, but he's letting his teammate by here, Josh Conover. So I don't know. Vincent always is going to surprise us somehow every week and make us question his strategy. So interesting to see, as now he's getting the bumper beat off of him. Oh, he had to chase it up the track there. A lot of bumper from that car behind him. I'm not sure who that was. I believe that was Taylor in the 81. Has now the 54. Oh, got into him a little bit.
Oh my goodness, this is getting downright dangerous for Arthur out there, who is just sliding back in the order down to 7th place at the moment and about to drop another spot to Gladilich now.
It almost looks like he's down a cylinder, but you can't do that on iRacing, but it seems like he's down a cylinder. That's very strange.
That is two things you've mentioned tonight that happen frequently in real life NASCAR, but do not seem to happen in iRacing. It would be cool if that did happen. But, you know, you just imagine if it did, how many upset upset iRacers would be like, I dropped the cylinder. What are you talking about? Oh! A little bit of an issue there between Dunford and Gladilich.
I think Gladilich got loose off of 4 and chased it the whole way down the straightaway, but a great save here as he's going to gain it back up behind Vincent Arthur, as now Timmy Harper going to look underneath them. Not going to be able to do it, but I tell you what, Vincent's got to get going here because the leader is right behind Timothy Harper and Vincent's right in front of them, so he's got to get moving.
Yeah, this is well, he's going to get saved here in one lap because this is the end of the stage coming up. So possibly that's what he was banking on. He would just ride it out till the stage caution, and then he'd gather it all back up again, whatever fuel he saved for the end of this race. Could be a very interesting strategy for him, but we will find out as Justin Klebe is really close now. So there is the end of stage number 1, I believe.
Yeah, once the 10th place car.
I see.
It's going to be this battle right here, Vincent and Timmy. Once they cross the line, the caution will come out. They're going to call it beforehand.
There you go. So that's how close it got for Vincent Arthur to go a lap down. Now we'll have to find out if we can figure out what the heck just happened there with that caution, or with that Vincent trying to stay out there on the track. In fact, do we want to talk to Vincent Arthur maybe here at the caution?
We can try, but I don't know how likely he is to give us his strategy. He knows a couple of these people are watching. He's going to say, you know, I don't want to give all of my secrets. So,
well,
I don't know if he'll answer.
Let's see if we can pull him in here. Hey, Vincent, this is Trevor and Christian up here in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, so we saw you dropping back there. Do you have damage, or is that just some elaborate fuel-saving strategy you got going on?
No, my pit crew decided to only take 2 left side tires for whatever reason. So I was 172 lap old, right sides there. Ooh. And yeah, left sides don't do you anything, maybe a 1/10 of a second. So we'll we'll try to claw back the track position, which is very key here, and yeah, unfortunate.
Well, it's a good thing that caution came out right when it did. Aside from that, everything feeling good out there. You were running with Ronnie for a lot of that first part of the stint. How's Dover looking to you tonight?
Let me get my box here. Yeah, I love this track. I love the way it drives. I think, I would have been fine had the pit stop not gone awry. It's hot out here, so it's tight, loose. It's just slick. There's very little grip everywhere. And yeah, I felt like Kleba was a little better than me in 1 and 2, but he didn't have anything for me in 3 and 4. So we'll see if I can get back up there and battle with him. And Ronnie's got a heck of a long run car, so it'll be pretty interesting to see where we fall if we get a short run. I think Kleba's got the best car. Mid run, I think I got the best car, and then Ronnie's got the long run car. So we'll see how the runs unfold, and hopefully iRacing doesn't screw me next time, and we can actually get some decent pit strategy going.
Yeah, well, maybe next time buy a bag of cheeseburgers for the pit crew or something. They were upset, but hey, Christian, I think we were both watching on, thinking maybe there's some elaborate strategy going on, but we'll let you get back to it. Good luck with the rest of the race, Vincent. We'll be watching.
And appreciate you guys.
Thank you. So that is Vincent Arthur, and he was absolutely. We didn't guess that one, but you could imagine what that would be like to come in and only accidentally take two left side tires, not even right side tires, and how that would affect your handling.
Yeah, when we saw him getting loose when we were on board, he wasn't getting loose because of being on the throttle. He was getting loose for 65 lap old tires. So that is insane that he was able to stay on the lead lap with just left sides only. So that's, he's got an extra set of right side tires tonight. So maybe if there's a lot of cautions, could be a blessing in disguise. Take right side tires late and be able to win this thing. But, man, that's insane.
Well, as we're under caution here for the first time for our stage, we'll be right back here at VirtualRacing.Network with Stage 2. Stay tuned. Lots more green flag action to come. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. We're set for stage number 2. It's Dustin Kleba who will lead us back to the green flag. Ronnie Norman alongside, and momentarily it will be Dustin stepping on that loud pedal. Back underway here at Dover.
A really good restart there for Ronnie. Typically the inside is not good here, as we got a 3 wide move here.
It looks like Matthew George just did not get moving, though. As good as Ronnie Norman got moving up in front, it looked like that Matthew George just got stalled out on that restart. But Kleba gets it going again here for KPR, and he's having a solid race so far, really doing some magic work in that pit stop exchange to get out there in front of both Ronnie and Vincent Arthur. And we do have a caution, and it's Kristen Berry involved in this one. There's Christian Berry now with Joey Stats as well. So both of these drivers involved. I'm not sure if that's Stab. No, Stab out there in. So he looks like he's okay. Let's go ahead and back it up and see if we can tell what happened to Christian Berry. There's Christian Berry and the 54 racing together, and he gets right into the back of Mackey, who's already a lap down and into Joey Stats. I'm not sure what happened with Stats. We'll have to go
Yeah,
back.
Stats was already around at that point, so I don't know exactly what happens here. We'll take a look. 91's really high. Maybe that has something to do with it. Yep.
Indeed it does. That being the
Oh,
91
man.
of Stab, who was up high and just came down the track a little bit and got into Stats. So let's see if we can take one more look. We'll look from Kristenberry's point of view. This won't be so much fun if you're a Kristenberry fan, but right in the back and then right
Just
into the
nowhere to
43.
go.
You know, the Days of Thunder approach of just steer into the smoke and it'll all clear out of your way. Sometimes it works, sometimes you end up right in the side of a car. But nevertheless, Steven Dombrowski checking in over in the YouTube chat room, part of the Ronnie Norman fan club, and it's great to have you here. He says, I'm late, but keep it going, Ronnie. And indeed, he's doing a great job. He's got kind of the car to beat here tonight, wouldn't you say?
Maybe not the car to beat, but definitely the strategy to beat. I mean, he's saving the tires the best, and like Vincent said, he's got the best long run capability. So we got to just see if the race ends with a long run. I would definitely say favorite, but if it ends with a short run, Kleba or Vincent, I think, just have a little bit better of a short run capability than Ronnie tonight.
Well, and we still, I mean, we've seen one long green flag run, but Ronnie was really making good progress through that whole green flag run, and then Kleba managed to get in and out of the pits somehow in front of Norman and Arthur, but nevertheless, Kleba has good short run pace for sure. He's got good medium run pace, but it looks like Ronnie's got a great car for the long run. We'll have to see. Maybe Kleba will make some adjustments. Maybe now we've also got another driver up into third. He was second last week. I think he wants a taste of that victory circle, but Cody Height on YouTube, as he's known, for Harper Motorsports, up into that third spot, and he's looking pretty solid so far tonight. Zachary Taylor gaining 14 spots. He pitted with everyone else, and for Agent Inc. Racing, Zachary Taylor already up into that top 5 right now.
Yeah, and he's one of the new guys to the league. I don't recognize the name, so I think he just started racing recently. Doing a really good job here, already in the top 5 tonight.
So this is some solid racing from a couple of these drivers that had to start a little bit further back. Cody Height starting in 7th, moving all the way up into the 3rd at the moment, and Zachary Taylor 18th. He started and now up into 4th, which just further proves, I mean, it is possible. You can pass a lot of cars and you can make it up there into the front. Abby's Sweet Treats, your proud presenting sponsor of the NORA Cup Series. And we'll be hearing much more from them coming up here very shortly, but some good stuff going on over at Abby's. If you haven't been over to their Facebook page, you want to make sure that you hit that Facebook page on the daily, because they've got the Mother's Day cookies coming out. They got baseball cookies. They got all kinds of good stuff, brownies. I mean, I'm just salivating thinking it's like dessert time now, so I'm just thinking of it. But, we got Vincent Arthur pulling up there. Not sure what he's doing at the moment.
I believe that was a choose cone violation for the 81. I think he's going to have to take the outside lane, and that is the scenario. So, yeah.
I see.
81 moves up to the top, and now Vincent, he's 3rd now with that inside lane. Second on the inside lane, but 3rd overall now. I think we got to see if Matthew George has a good start on the inside, because the inside is not the place to be on this track. For restarts, the outside's always better. You can see all flatline guys on the inside. Let's see what they can do here as we're getting to the restart zone here.
And we're just about to go green, as you said, Christian. We're going to get this one restarted, and Dustin Kleba once again going to lead us back to the green flag. Ronnie Norman in 2nd. Arthur, a very tight 3rd spot. And if that really was the fact that he just needed some new right side tires, I think Arthur's got the bit between his teeth and he wants that lead back.
I think if you're Ronnie right now, you're going to let Vincent by because he is not happy that happened with him on the pit stop. So he wants to go up and get the lead back.
Well, Zachary Taylor has managed to climb back a couple of spots right now. You look at this sandwich between Conover, George, and Taylor at the moment. But that might be a car that you might watch as well, that number 81. He seems to be able to pass at will. And now here comes Mr. Conover, the number 25 for Flatline. And he is emerging as another contender for tonight's race victory. So we've got some hot cars coming forward now. This one's a long ways from being over. Still a lot of racing to be done here in Dover.
Yeah, and we can see Dustin Kleba pulling out away from Ronnie, but I think that's going to happen all night because we see Ronnie saving those tires still. So he's going to let Kleba pull away, but he's going to reel him back in eventually here.
So that gap is closing, as you said, or it's spread out a little bit, as you said, but it will be closing, I'm sure, because Norman has had that longer run pace. And certainly here comes Arthur as well, just 3/10 of a second back at the moment. Cody Height holding on, though, in that 4th spot. He's up 3 spots, as I mentioned, turning some good laps. And right now, Zachary Taylor just setting fastest Sector 2 time of the race. So not the fastest lap of the race, but the fastest Sector 2. So keep an eye on that car as well. Just a lot of drivers really starting to emerge at the front here. The cream's starting to rise as we get into about a third of the way done with this one.
Well, from what I have learned in the past, running this fast, this early in the run, you're going to see that 81 dropping. Oh, as he gets into Cody Height, saves it.
Cody Height just doing a little shimmy as he gets tapped from the rear, and Cody is probably not going to be too happy about that one, but Zachary...
Man, this is a product. Cody is saving tires. He knows what to do with the track. He's saving tires. And Zachary Taylor, a little fresh to the league, running it pretty hard early, so we're going to see him burn his stuff up. That contact is a product of whenever guys are saving and guys want to push, you're going to have 2 different closing speeds. As you can see, he's already back up to him, and we'll go around him here.
Side by side, they go through the corner. Height on the outside and Taylor on the inside, getting a little close there in mid-corner.
Oh, we got a caution.
And another caution is out. Do not see who it is for. Jacob Gladelich. I'm not really sure who this one is for, as I can't really tell, but I do see Thompson has bailed out of the race. Cottle looks like has 2, but Curry is still running, so tough to tell.
I found it. Dunford. There was a moment Timothy Harper gets loose. Dunford checks up, and then the 45 turns him sideways 90 degrees, but Dunford kept going, but the caution did come out due to that little contact.
There's a bit of contact there.
Yeah.
45 just kind of drives through him. Adam Kulikowski, but indeed, and then they all get it sort of straightened out there. So Dunford back going again in the Nightmare Motorsports out of Milton, Florida. Not that far away from our headquarters here for VirtualRacing.Network. Did you see the truck just... the pace truck just went through there like a race car would. He was like sideways going.
He was hauling the mail.
He was definitely hauling the mail. But with that, let's go ahead and bring in our let's see, where is he running? But we'll bring in Ronnie Norman and see if we can get him up here into our booth here. And oh, I seem to have lost him. There he is. There we go. Hey, Roddy, this is Trevor and Christian up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, how's your race going tonight? It looks like you're running at the front. You haven't gotten around Vincent to get to the front. You didn't get around Dustin yet to get to the front. You think you got it to get up to the front tonight?
Oh, we're gonna find out. I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in this car for sure. The track is starting to take some rubber coming out of the corners, so you got a little bit more grip to get back on the throttle, which is really helping out, I feel like. But no, I don't know if I got a short run car, but I'm sure you guys seen there in that first stage, I definitely got a little bit of a long run. So I don't know if I want this thing to go short or long, leaning towards long run toward the end. So other than that, we'll just try to keep the nose straight and just see what we can do here.
Well, you've had a great run so far. How's the track coming in? Is it Vincent was talking about it being hot. How are you feeling with the track overall? You said it's coming to you in the long run.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels. I mean, the track's from the green flag to now, the track is definitely different, and I didn't really know how I was going to feel. I can't remember, qualified third. Didn't really expect to do that. Thought I was going to be a little bit farther down in the field. So happy to get a good starting spot. It definitely helped out because I was just up here pacing with these two, just trying to keep them in my front windshield at least, and was able to do that. And then with the whole pit cycle going through, we got in and got out pretty clean. So happy about that.
Well, it's going in the right direction for you. We'll check in with you hopefully at the end of the race, and good luck to you the rest of this one.
All right, appreciate it.
So that's Ronnie Norman checking in with us, and we'll get him back over to his group. And I'll tell you what, Christian, he's one of the drivers. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 cars right now that I would put a circle around and say this is probably going to be the top 5 at the end of this race. Norman, Kleba, Arthur, Taylor, Height. Shoot, why not throw Conover into that mix as well? He's climbed up 5 positions from where he started tonight as well.
Yeah, and you can't count out Matthew George because those flatline guys always find a way into the top 5. So I definitely think that you're right with saying that the current top 5 is more than likely going to be the top 5 at the end of the night. But you just never know. You got Josh Conover and Matthew George looking there, and then Dunford in 8th. He's going to have a little bit of damage, so we're going to have to see if that's going to affect him. But these guys are going to be coming out of turn 4 to take the green here shortly. And again, we got to watch at the end.
You kind of broke up there a little bit, Christian, but you do have to watch and see. I agree with you about Matthew George, though. If there's one driver that seems to sneak up at the end of these races, it's Matthew George. He seems to have that figured out. It's one of those talents that I don't quite have figured out how to be there at the very end, but run outside of the top 5 for a lot of the race. Kleba back on the loud pedal, and we are go again here at Dover. Ronnie Norman in 2nd, Arthur in 3rd, Taylor in 4th, Conover in 5th, and Taylor now poking forward on the outside of Arthur. Is he going to get the job done? Arthur's
going to clear him, yeah.
He does, in fact. It's kind of shocking, but it happened. And look a little bit further back. This is Height and Conover racing it out for position. This is for 5th on the track. Height on the inside, Conover on the outside. As they exit the corner, headed down the back stretch, it's still side by side. They head down through 3 and 4. That's Brandon Dunford just behind with Matthew George as well. So these two looking on saying, oh, sure, please, just sort of slide up the track. We'll take those positions. But Conover looks like going to slide ahead. Not quite done until now. So Cody Height then pulls it back up the track, and currently it's Kleba who's out front. Then you've got Ronnie Norman, he's been kind of bridesmaid here the whole race, just running in 2nd, runner-up, but we'll see whether or not he manages to poke his nose out in front at some point here tonight. Zachary Taylor holding on in 3rd, and Megan Beadle checking in over in the YouTube chat land saying Christenberry fans are here, and we're so grateful to have you watching along, Megan. Hope you're enjoying this one. Just about getting to the century mark on this race here tonight, but still a long ways to go. Why don't we go ahead and get the Christenberry can going here. He's the first car lap down, but holding on pretty tight to that 13th spot. Maybe he'll get that DoorDash machine up there in the front before too long. It's going to take a little bit of work, but the driver out of Attica is giving it his all, and so far staying pretty clean at the moment, but we'll check in with him over time. Kleba for KPR Motorsports, though, doing a fabulous job. He's he's been just so clean tonight. I mean, he's had to pass a couple of cars. He did get it done in the pits. Just really a great thing to see. And I also echo what Cody Reeder was saying. Kleba is a good person. Just even in his intro to me, Kleba seemed like a very friendly guy, very positive-minded person. And a lot of times, you know, that positivity, not getting so stressed out about the racing, not being so over-focused about what's going on, you know, sometimes that's the way to go. Hey, did Taylor just get by Ronnie Norman?
Yeah, it happened a few laps ago. He was able to get around him, and I think that's a case again. Ronnie is saving his stuff, and I think Zach's just pushing it a little bit too early, too soon. So we'll have to see if Ronnie's going to be able to pass him back, or maybe Zach is saving tires and is just that quick. So we'll have to see. I think it's definitely a scenario where he's pushing a little bit too early, but we'll have to find out here.
That's the beauty of these long green flag runs. You find this out as we get to the end of the stint. But right now, Zachary Taylor, one of the fastest cars on track, certainly a little bit faster than both Ronnie Norman and Vincent Arthur, as Norman catches right up to the back of Taylor. So I'm not sure if Taylor kind of had a momentary bobble there. But he did start to fall back into the clutches. You know, Christian, I wouldn't be surprised if it was exactly like you were talking about. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed, and then that was as far as she went.
Yeah, you can see coming out of the corners, he is wheeling it, and Ronnie just nice and easy off the corners. So definitely a little bit more of an aggressive driving style here for Zachary, as we're going to see. Watch when he comes out of turn 4, that wheel is going to be turning right a lot here. There's 1, 2, 3 or 4 times there he had to turn right to correct it. So he is really loose out of 4. And if we watch Ronnie coming out of turn 4 this next lap, you're going to see a lot smoother input here coming out of the corner.
I could even just see coming out of 2, it looked like it was just a rock steady wheel. Watching him mid-corner, absolutely no movement. Just a small little correction to the outside, as you said. 1 correction to 4 corrections for Taylor. So definitely feeling a little bit different for Norman in just settling into that groove.
Yeah, and right now Ronnie's going to be okay with riding behind him because he's not pushing it at all, but it's going to get to a point where he's going to have to get by him somehow. Definitely don't think it's going to be a bump and run type situation. Ronnie's not that type of guy, but he is definitely going to have to get around him here, or else Dustin Kleba is going to walk away with this stage.
And he is starting to do so, and you can definitely see it's not much. Here comes Arthur, by the way, on the inside on Norman, and so Norman getting held up a little bit by Taylor, I think, and as a result, Arthur choosing to try to mount a charge to try to get around Taylor. As you said, Kleba starting to walk away, and it's every single lap putting down about 7 to 8, you know, let's just call it a 10th or so a lap, and those tenths add up very, very quickly. So with that, nobody's going to be able to challenge for that victory over the second stage, which of course is going to be coming up here on lap 150. So still about 40 laps to go. We're going to see another green flag stop, hopefully between now and then, and here comes Arthur, I think.
Yeah, and I think the reason that we saw Vincent pass Ronnie, I think Ronnie knows that Vincent's not afraid to use his bumper, whereas Ronnie won't. Oh, no!
Oh, and there is another car that's gotten into it.
They're still piling in. Kristen Berry sliding into it.
He's
gonna be able to get out of that, but that's just the situation. You run your tires off early, you're going to get loose in the long run. He got too loose there, and Vincent Arthur gets collected in it, and I'm sure Vincent is furious right now.
Well, we'll do what we do best here on VirtualRacing.Network and analyze how this one went so wrong. Looks like Arthur getting behind and just off the corner. There's nothing else can be said. Taylor just spun up those tires, and it went to the left, and many cars had to work their way through that one. Let's see it one more time. This time it's right on board, and you'll be able to hear it perhaps from before this crash actually happened.
Look how far that wheel is turned.
Well, let's back it
Wow.
up a little bit so before we get into the corner and we can really tell. Let's listen. Well, and there wasn't much margin for error there either, because with Arthur trying to make that move and just being that close that, you know, he wanted to make that pass, he was not giving a lot of room to Taylor to get through that corner. And if anything went wrong, like it did, that was pretty much the way that it was going to work out. We're now seeing everybody into the pits at this moment. We'll get to that in just a minute. This is what Arthur saw.
Just nothing he could have done.
Absolutely.
And then
Dunford.
right there, a head-on collision. Ugh.
Dunford into him as well. So a number of cars wrecked in that one. And that was two of our leaders involved. Cody Height takes over the lead here as everyone else decides to pit. Cody last.
And we have a new face to the top 5 here. Kolakowski, I believe that's how it's pronounced. He's in the, oh, now he's falling back. Maybe he was a lucky dog. I was going to say that's the first time I've seen his name up toward the top 10. So good job for him, maybe getting the lucky dog and getting back on the lead lap here.
Absolutely. And I assume that he had a little bit of damage because he did get into that incident not long ago. But Kulikowski now making a pit stop. So looks like he'll be able to still stay in that top 10. But Cody Height taking over the lead. I would not be surprised to see him actually stop now that he's managed to get bonus point for sticking around out in front and leading a lap. But Kleba right there behind. Ronnie Norman in second. Josh Conover in third. Brady Moats in fourth. And, you know, that's going to give us a good chance to actually talk about something that's pretty important here on VirtualRacing.Network. And that is Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery, the proud presenting sponsor of the NORA Cup Series. There you see some baseball cookies, oh, some chocolate chip cookies, some Easter cookies, and there's Abby as well. That shirt that she's wearing is actually an SRX shirt, so it just tells you she's a racing fan. Abby, the owner out of Plymouth, Minnesota. The phone number, 812-264-1624. That's how you can get a hold of her to order a couple dozen cookies. Why not? Some brownies, some chocolate chip cookies, abcobb@gmail.com. I have a feeling that she'll do something custom for you too. So if you got a cool idea that you want, Mother's Day, Father's Day coming up, you know, all those great holidays, 4th of July, never too early to start planning for that stuff. Facebook, Abby's Sweet Treats, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Get a hold of Abby's Sweet Treats for your cookies today. Artistically created cookies that look so good, they'll make you feel great inside as well. So, you know, always great to bring them up because, you know, they help to pay the bills around here. And, you know, coincidentally, it's great to have you on board here, Christian. So wonderful to have you be alongside here in the booth, and certainly makes it a lot more interesting for everybody out there in YouTube land. But this has been an interesting race, and we haven't seen Cody Height peel off into the pits. I'm not sure how he can stay out there as he last stopped on lap 73, but
I think that's a strategy call. He's going to save a set of tires for late in the race in case he needs them. There's only, I think, about 10, 20 laps until the stage here, maybe 30. So, I mean, you could make it to the end of the stage here and then pit. He shouldn't go a lap down at this point. He should be okay. So we are going to go green with him as the leader. He might spin tires here.
Well, he steps on that loud pedal, and we are go again here at Dover.
Good start for him, but Kleba is going to just drive by him on the inside here.
Kleba, and here comes Conover, and here comes Ronnie Norman. It's sort of like, just get out of the way, Cody, and protect yourself, my friend, because here comes the freight train. So, I mean, there's stats going by. You got stats up near the top 5, too. Ooh, Dumford gets held up right behind Height. I imagine that is some wild stuff on Cody's YouTube feed right now, but either way, hey, we've got a new guy up in second place. It's Josh Conover,
Where
who's,
did he come from?
you know where he came from. If he's anywhere on the track, he's going to find it's like a magnet. He gets his way up there into the top 3.
He's like the NORA Kevin Harvick. He's the closer. He comes out of nowhere.
Well, here he is getting ready for the end of the second stage. He's in perfect position to possibly capitalize on that. Kleba is starting to emerge as a car that's in its own league at the moment. We thought, I mean, at least I thought that Norman might be the car to beat, and he still could be by the end of this race. He may still be holding on to a little bit, but I mean, Kleba has just been able to do what he needs to out in front and still walk away. Here he is walking away a little bit from Conover at the moment, stretching this lead up to 0.7 of a second. So this one is far from over, and we've still got a stage stop in between, but right now it is Dustin Kleba for KPR Motorsports, who seems to have everybody in check. Conover, though, as I mentioned, up 9 spots. He's doing a fabulous job for Flatline Motorsports and now leading that trio. And by the way, Vincent Arthur, well, he has managed to recover. He's right here in 10th position. I don't think he's lost a lap yet, so he's still there on the lead lap, and that's good news for all you Vincent Arthur fans out there as well. But giving a further report, Brady Motes managed to recover here in 4th place, up 8 spots. So Brady Motes for Brian Powell Motorsports having a good recovery run. He was a little bit further back earlier on, but finding his way up to the front. Joey Stats as well for Nightmare, doing a solid job for that Nightmare stable that won here last week with Nick Geilis. Geilis, of course, suffering issues early on in this race, but Stats now holding up that banner for Nightmare. And Matthew George, like we were talking about, you can't count him out. He just seems to find a way to get up there to that top 5 each and every time. So probably not too long before he pokes his nose up there, possibly for the end of the second stage. And Brandon Dunford, he's been involved in a couple of incidents, but so far just able to work through it. And kind of getting back to what I was saying earlier about staying positive and keeping your mind, you know, just focused on what's possible and how you can possibly clean up the rest of the race and pull out the best result that you can. You get involved in a couple of incidents like Dunford has. Nothing that's destroyed his car, of course, but just been set back a little bit, but he's managed to recover and looking very good up there in 7th. Unfortunately for Cody Height, he restarted at the lead, but he has drifted all the way back here to 10th, and those old tires are just killing him at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be close to if he goes a lap down. I mean, his strategy is going to be to stay on the lead lap. That way he has extra tires. But if he goes a lap down, that strategy is pretty much out the window because he'll take the lucky dog. And whenever you take the lucky dog, it's pretty much a day ender if you go a lap down here at this track. So he's just got to hope and pray that he's able to hold off Kleba for the next 24 laps or so.
Absolutely. Well, Kleba is on a push, and he's managed to stay out there 0.7 ahead. He's doing 23.16, which is let's see, compared to Cody Height's 24.04. So Height is losing almost a full second each lap to Kleba, but either way, just about 12 laps to go here. 22 laps to go until the end of stage number 2. So we'll watch on to find out whether it will be Kleba who will hold on to that victory in stage 2. Conover has made the passes that he needs to get into second place, but he's losing right now a little bit of pace to Kleba up front. It's now drifted back to a full second being the gap, but he has picked up almost a full second gap to his teammate back here for Ronnie Norman. So Norman, I don't know, maybe he does have the long run pace. Maybe it's Conover who's got the long run pace. We'll have to keep tabs with that as we go on. But Stats there in 4th place. He's picked up 10 spots for Nightmare Motorsports now, and it's just looking really solid for him. I mean, right now he's doing a 23.67 was his last lap, and the front runner's a bit faster than that, but he is holding his own there in that 4th spot, so we'll see whether or not it will be another top 5 night for Joey Stats. And
he did get into the wall last lap just a little bit as you got onto him with the camera, but seems to not affect him that much, and was able to keep going here in 4th place, as the Dunford almost looked under Brady Motes there in the middle of 4.
Well, and possibly we will see a pass there over in. There is Dunford taking a look down the low line on Motes. Motes, when he's not racing, he's chatting up a storm over in our YouTube chat room. Always look forward to that, but looks like Dunford not quite able to pull that one out, and Motes now drifting to the high side. Guileless checking in over in the YouTube chat room. Nick Guileless says he just saw a drift pass by Joey, and I bet Joey's getting it done however he needs to, but like Christian said, touching the wall on the high side, and perhaps about to lose out here as we've got, is that Dunford?
Yeah, that's Dunford into the wall again. That was big contact with the left side. I think what we're going to see is he's going to get loose out of 4 and chase it the whole way down to the inside wall, which I talked to you before the race, and I said that was going to be one of the main things that's going to happen, people getting loose out of 4, and we've already seen it take out Vincent Arthur and the 81 as well, and now we see Dunford also joining them as a victim of getting loose out of 4.
And we'll have to see if we can get this to actually go the correct direction and back up here, but there, yes, he did. He just coming off the corner. Oh.
Yeah, the reason that happens at this track, whenever you're on board with these cars, it's like going up a roller coaster and then down as you get onto turn 4. I think the height is like, I think 2 stories. A 2-story building from the top to the bottom, and whenever you go up on that transition, you're basically climbing 2 stories essentially. So you can see as they come up here, it just, you go up and then back down, and that upsets the car so much that it usually gets loose on that transition.
It is just crazy banking here in these laps. I mean, it is a 23-second lap, so it's not a short lap like a Richmond or something like that, but you're so busy, and you stay in the car for, in the corner for so long. Your brain is just trying to work out how to get through that corner and get on the gas and deal with that banking, that there's really very little time to try to plan it out. And actually, I should go back to that because we were just about to see possibly Arthur make a move on Stats. But, I actually did a race here in an Indy car not that long ago. You talk about insanity.
Oh, man. that sounds insane. Oh my goodness.
It was absolutely insane. It's and so it gives you a real respect for driving these cars, which have like half the downforce and a lot less nimble ability. Vincent Arthur slides by Joey Stats there, and it looks like Dunford just about to do the same there as Stats tags the wall once again on the outside, and things kind of going from bad to worse for Stats.
Bad for worse for him, but it's going bad to good for Norman as he got by Conover a few laps ago. He's starting to reel in Kleba little by little. We saw it before. He's got the long run ability, and now he's starting to chase down Kleba, but I don't think he's going to have enough time. As we got 10 to go in the stage, he would have to be about a quarter of a second quicker each lap in order to catch him.
Well, this was just a moment ago as
big moment there for Conover. Got real loose.
Absolutely, and that did allow Ronnie Norman to get through, so perhaps Conover's long run pace starting to wear out those tires and Norman able to hang on. Some of these times, some of these races, I mean, it really is just about hanging on to the car So we're seeing Ronnie Norman getting by Tim Harper there, but I mean, it can go to heck in a handbasket so fast. Like, I mean, you could get to the edge and get to the end of your rope with these tires, and it could happen all within 5 laps. And if you're a driver like Ronnie who saved his tires, I mean, you may just end up driving by several of these cars on the same lap. It is absolutely possible. Probably not for Ronnie, at this point being up at the far end, but if you're one of these other cars that's a little bit further back, the Adam Kulikowskis at the very back end of the lead lap, I mean, it would not be a surprise if you hang on to these tires that you drive by 2-3 cars on one single lap. And you can just see, just up in front, that tracker car really, really struggling there to get down the pace, to get down the traction. And as a result, Ronnie not having that same kind of issue and getting through just fine. But Conover's now slid back a 1.5 seconds, and it's kind of going south for Conover at the moment. He's Matthew George, we were just talking about him. Here he is, up in the top 5, now into 4th, and teammate to Josh Conover, but right now he might have a better car than Josh Conover as he is quickly reeling in Josh Conover.
Yeah, and Matthew George always really good at tire saving. Like, whenever I race with him, I've been racing with him for 4 seasons now. He's been here since the beginning. He's always been that guy that just kind of takes it easy early, and then he shows up late. And now with Ronnie being a teammate, he's leaning off of Ronnie, leaning off of Vincent, and I think Matthew George is going to be a threat for the championship soon. We know he almost won an Xfinity Series championship, finished second in the chase there to my team, which I'm happy we were able to win that championship, but it came at the cost of Matthew losing it. And I mess with him all the time. I know that a championship is coming for him, but I always mess with him like, hey, remember that championship? But we all have fun with each other in here, and he's definitely one of the longest running members in this league, and he comes out here every week. One of the most the highest starts I think with the league has. I'm droning on and on here. We're white flag in the stage, I believe, here.
We are already. White flag here, but it's always cool to hear some insider stories of what's going on with these racers out here. Just Dustin Kleba about to cross the line, and that will do it for him. He'll take stage number 2 once again with Ronnie Norman not very far back. So Ronnie really picking it up there at the end, and Josh Conover manages to hang on to 3rd. Matthew George in 4th place, Brady Motes in 5th, and Brandon Dunford holds on to 6th. You saw Dunford and Gladelich and Arthur all battling there for several laps on screen. Arthur getting the worst end of that all the way back in 8th. So interesting to see Arthur kind of struggling here in this second stage. I'm not sure if it's something that he's working on in the car, if there's something wrong with the car, or if
he doesn't have a right front fender on that car. So I think that's the issue. I mean, we saw him get into that wreck really badly. I think that right front tire is bent. Obviously the entire right side is gone from that car. So he is lucky he was able to get 8th. That's 2 points for the stage. So that's going to help him for the championship. He's not going to be in contention for the win, but still could be a top 5 contender for sure.
Everybody making their way now onto pit road. Dustin Kleba included in that. So everybody looking to get their tires and fuel this time out. And I'm wondering if Kleba is going to manage to stay out there in front, or if Ronnie Norman knows how to do something here on pit road. But we will watch on to find out. We're going to step aside here. You're not going to miss anything. It'll be right up here on your screen live, and we'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network with Stage 3 Green Flag. Stay tuned.
Alrighty.
And we are back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Dustin Kleba, he's been the story so far. He's taken 2 stage victories. Ronnie Norman holding on to second, and now it's Josh Conover and Matthew George going to be bringing in that second row. I think this is starting to shape up here, Christian. We're starting to see who's going to be there at the end. And as you were saying before, it's not a surprise to see Matthew George, part of that flatline stable, up there as well. But Vincent Arthur back there in 7th place, do you think he's going to have something to say before the end of this one, or do you think that damage is too much?
That damage is going to be way too much to compete for a win. But like I said, I believe a top 5 is possible for him. As we're getting to the restart zone, and we got to see if Kleba is able to pull away here, and green flag is out, and he just all night so far that outside lane has been really good. As you can see, Conover gonna pass Ronnie Norman here on the outside. We'll try to here. Ronnie's gonna get back by him on the inside here out of 2, and Matthew George is gonna fall into 4th as well here.
Well, Norman has looked awesome tonight, but not quite the mark of what Dustin Kleba has been able to do. Kleba has just been solid in the short run. He's been solid off the restarts. He's been solid in the long run, but we still have just under 90 laps to see if whether or not Norman can try and track down Dustin Kleba. We've got a green flag, pit stop, or actually we've got probably 2 stops left until the end. So we'll see whether or not Norman, Conover, George, or Arthur can manage to get it together. But despite that damage that he might have, I mean, Arthur is still hanging on to a top 5.
Yeah, I believe it's actually going to be a 1-stop, because we did see Josh Conover stretch the field to, I believe it was about 52 laps. So with about 90 to go at this point, maybe even less, I think it's going to be a 1-stopper. It's just going to be who's going to be able to get in and out of pit road quickest, because I believe we're done with the cautions for tonight. Knock on wood, hopefully. So I love green flag stops. It makes it so much better. I don't like cautions. I don't think anyone does. I love to see these guys do green flag stops.
Well, certainly, you know, that's I love your wishful thinking. So, you know, that's Christian, you're ever the optimist with no more cautions. But we will find out. I mean, you know, it could end up with no more cautions, and I think that would be a very interesting story if we do get to see this one finish under green. Who can manage to hold on? And, you know, at this point, I would have to say nobody really has anything for Kleba. But then again, Ronnie Norman has looked solid tonight. He may still have something to show at the end of this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hold on to stuff like that. You don't want to show where everything is at. You don't want to show that you've got the ability to get up there and maybe make a pass. You don't want to possibly, you know, take a chance on letting somebody see, you know, what you've got under the hood until it's absolutely necessary. Norman would be more than happy to hold on to second and then perhaps sort of ambush Kleba if he had that possibility. But I mean, anything could happen. Like I said, I have seen so many drivers. This happens in all the series too, when you get these long races. You know, really, you could see somebody like Matthew George come from 5th, and you don't even see it coming, but he'll be there right at the very end and know to make the pass and be able to take the win. Like, I know Dustin isn't just pedaling the car here, but if we get to the end of the stint and somebody's been able to hold on to their tires, especially if there is another caution and nobody wants to pit, that could be the time when somebody is able to really pounce.
Well, I'm seeing something interesting here. Ronnie has caught up to Kleba, so you can tell Kleba is actually saving significantly more than he has been all race, because normally at this point in the run he would be about 1.5 seconds ahead, but he backed it off. He was about 0.8 ahead, and now Ronnie within 0.5 of him, so he definitely pulled back the reins a little bit and is trying to save maybe as much as Ronnie is, because we have seen that Ronnie is lights out in the long run. He was able to run them down a half a second or a second and a half earlier in the first stage. So Kleba trying to mirror what Ronnie did in the first stage and save the tires here.
And that's a good strategy, obviously. We'll see, because it did look like Kleba was starting to give up something at the end of the first stage. But we'll see whether or not Norman can manage to track him down. Conover holding on to that third spot. And in the meantime, if you're looking over in the YouTube chat room, just posted a poll which you can go ahead and vote for. I do see that Nick Gila is saying that it's a one stop and that Joey will steal one, so we'll add your total there to we only get 4 options. But go ahead and vote for who you think is going to win here tonight. And
I put my vote in.
Well, so far we're seeing Ronnie Norman up there at the top of the order for the poll, but let us know who you think is going to win out there in YouTube chat land, and we'll read it here at the end of the night. We'll see how close you are to the prediction. But this has been a solid race so far. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of good strategy, not too many cautions, not too much craziness. And as a result, we've seen Dustin Kleba come from second place up to first, win a couple of stages, and now he is poised to potentially take victory here in just his second start this season. And that would be something awesome to see. Ronnie Norman has had a solid race. He's up a spot as well, and that's just because Vincent Arthur has been struggling here tonight. And at the same time, he was holding up there with Vincent Arthur earlier, was matching him pace for pace, possibly even going to make a move around Arthur, but Arthur getting caught up earlier in an incident and dropping back. Josh Conover in third spot right now. He's up 8 spots. Also part of that flatline group, and he's been having a great race, but he was up there in second and kind of struggled off of a corner. That allowed Ronnie Norman to get by. Vincent Arthur is doing a heck of a job despite the damage, as Christian Snyder says, and he's still holding on to a top 5. He's in 4th, and really those points at the end of the championship season and certainly getting off into the playoffs, really, it's all about that consistency. If you get a little bit of damage to your car early on, you need to just kind of backtrack a little bit, play recovery effort, just to end up with a top 5 at the end is really what it's all about, and you end up still managing to resurrect a race and get the most amount of points possible. Matthew George up a spot from where he qualified, but that doesn't really tell the story. He's been solid top 5 all day, running great times. Did slip back a little bit earlier. He had to race for it, but here he is back in 5th, having what is another Matthew George type performance. Will he have more in the tank before the end? That is a good question. Brady Motes here in 6th place. He's gained 6 spots tonight. That's looking good for him. Possibly to take a top 5. That's one of the better runs that Brady has been able to put in, and certainly very consistent run. We haven't been calling his name. He's getting involved in incidents tonight or having spins or anything else. He's been able to stay up there towards the top. Joey Stats there for Nightmare Motorsports. We can, as we mentioned, the Stats fan club out there from Nick Gillis checking in, letting us know that he thinks Stats is going to steal this one. It would certainly be cool to see that retro paint job, the 43, be able to get up there, the infamous old STP paint job. See that get up there towards victory lane. But tonight, he's running 7th. He's up 7 spots. That's a good place to be. Adam Kulikowski up there in 8th place right now, up 9 spots so far. But he's got a challenge on his hands right now with Brandon Dunford also out of Nightmare Motorsports. And now the reason is because Dunford feels the heat coming from Tim Harper, who's also just behind at the moment, and that is your top 10. But just because we know that you're out there, here's Jake Christenberry in 12th, running for the Prestige TRD. He is up 4 spots tonight, so it's better than he qualified. But he's been looking at a possible top 10 tonight, and it's not that far out of reach. He is on the same lap as getting up there towards the top 10, but he's going to have to do some work to climb his way back forward here. Jake Christenberry having a good night, but not so far a top 10 kind of night. And then I guess I might as well talk about Cody Height. He had that strategy to stay out there at the start of the second stage, but it did not work out for him as he's fallen back here and has found himself back all the way into 13th place. I don't think he's going to be able to necessarily recover to top 3, let alone a top 5 from that stage. But Christian, it's been a good race so far. I know we've both been enjoying it. And, hey, it's just great to have you here in the booth. For those of you that are listening, I'm Trevor Greenfield. I'm joined by Christian Snyder. And you're watching VirtualRacing.Network's ongoing coverage of the NORA Cup Series 2023. This is round number 11. And, you know, the season is clicking on here. I mean, right now you got to start thinking about those playoff points and whether you can get up there and be in the right place for the playoff at the end.
Yeah, as you said, it's been a great race tonight, and I think this is the first time that I've been in the booth that it hasn't felt like a full moon type of race. We haven't run into any craziness like you said, so really happy that this thing is a great show. And yeah, the playoff, winning stages is the most important thing, and we saw Kleba able to nail one of them, and I believe Vincent won the first one. So even though Vincent maybe not going to win tonight, although he did pass Josh Conover and as well as Matthew George there. So Vincent still in contention for a podium, but we can see Ronnie Norman, he's running down Kleba. We talked about this earlier. He's a lot better in the long run. He kind of is staying right there at 1 second, but he did pull up to about 0.8 earlier. So I think right about now is when Ronnie is going to step it up and start catching Kleba. But we're going to have pit stops in about 20 laps, so it's not going to be enough time for him here.
Well, we'll check in, and as you can see, the gap there from Norman to Kleba has definitely increased. Actually, it's now down to about a second, as you said. So at this point, it does look like Norman is starting to reel in that number 16 of KPR, and it's possible that, he is leading that Chevy. There's like 5 Chevys in a row trying to track down this single Ford out here in front. And I just think it is possible that Norman seems to know what he's doing out there in the long run. But a few
so
more
far,
laps.
4 votes, and 3 of them are for Ronnie, 1 for Kleba. So I think the people watching are starting to agree with me here as they see him slowly catch Kleba. I think it's going to be Ronnie that wins this. I don't know who you think's going to win it, but I just think that 33, he's able to save those tires, and that is from the beginning of the night. I said whoever can save the tires the best is going to wind up in victory lane, and that's that 33 FanDuel car. Great paint scheme there. Love that car.
Well, as far as who I think is going to win, hey, I think we all win when the racing is this good here in the NORA Cup Series.
Very true. Very true.
But Vincent Arthur is now up there in that 3rd spot as Josh Conover has slid back to 5th, and Matthew George also getting around Conover. I also see that Anthony Mackie having made a pit stop, Josh Curry also having made a pit stop, and I'm not sure if Mackie is going to continue. I think Mackie is out. Curry is out. Taylor has retired his car long ago. So that leaves just our top 15 still running, with Engel, the last one out there running at the moment. But Arthur, for having a damaged car, is just, he's going to end up possibly with a podium with a severely damaged vehicle.
Yeah, I'm super impressed that he's able to be in the top 3. If there's a camera angle that can show that right front, the entire fender is gone off that car. It looks like a modified out there, but he is able to keep that in the top 3. And real quickly, I want to touch on the fact that Andrew Staub's still in this race. This is his 2nd Cup Series start, and he is doing a fantastic job. Just wanted to give him a shout out since he's on my team. So just wanted to give that little note. But yeah, you can see the 24 here. That exposed tire is not good.
Well, You know, I mean, it's a little less weight on the car. And no, you're absolutely right. Even at a track like this, a little bit of aero is going to make a big difference.
We got a battle for the lead.
And we do indeed. This is where the crossover might, in fact, happen. As I said, once she starts to go, she goes. And this may be as far as you can, you know, keep pushing for Kleba. Once you get to that point where the style that has worked for you for so many laps in a row no longer works out anymore, you know, you got to alter how you drive. And anytime you're going to have to severely alter your driving style through the corners, you're going to be giving up time. And so here comes Norman. Last time it was a 24.42 for Kleba and a 24.39, so about half a tenth to Norman's credit. And we're really seeing Norman now starting to close in. I think this is not long before we see a move here for the lead from Ronnie Norman.
And you can see what he's doing. He's been doing it all night, just running about a lane up, entering the corner, and he's able to arc it a lot better than what Kleba is by holding the bottom with Kleba. So with him going up that track a little bit, it's saving the tires throughout the long run. He's been doing a fantastic job of that. And we got about maybe 10 laps until green flag stops. So if Ronnie is able to get ahead of Kleba here, which I'm guessing he will be able to, he's just got to nail that pit stop, because I don't know. With about 40 laps to go, it might not be enough time. If Kleba has a lights out stop, it might not be enough time for Ronnie to catch him. But I hate to say I told you so, but
well, we'll find out. And then there is the stops overall. You know, you do have to execute perfectly on and off of pit road. We've seen it happen.
Here he comes,
time and time again. This is where the money is made, getting onto and off pit road.
Oh, Kleba!
Was that Kleba?
I believe that was.
What was that? What kind of entry was that?
I'm speechless. Was he speeding? Like, oh my goodness.
I mean, it's like he slammed his way into pit road.
That's one way, I guess.
Let's just back this up here and see if, I mean, I don't want to cut away from their pit stops, but this is just weird. Here is
he
Kleba.
Did speed. Wow.
I mean,
he got the wall too.
That's just way off of what you need to do to get onto pit road, and as a result, are we seeing him sitting on pit road?
Yeah.
In fact, there goes Ronnie Norman now, and well, I just was saying how execution on pit road is what it's all about, and Dustin Kleba, I guess, didn't get the memo that there's a different way to enter the pits than to just slam it in off of turn 4. But you'd have to wonder what was going through his mind at that point. It just looked like he made up his mind real late to cover Ronnie Norman coming into the pits. But either way, that leaves Josh Conover out there. He has not made his final stop yet. Matthew George also about the top, to say how many have not yet made their final pit stop, but working on lap 199 here. Most of the top group has yet to make their final stop. Just seeing Kulikowski stopping and now Matthew George stopping out of that top group.
So something interesting here. Vincent Arthur had a faster pit cycle than Ronnie. If this thing cycles out, Vincent Arthur with no right front on his car will be the leader of this race. I'm I don't even know what to say. That's incredible.
You know, you kind of maybe jinxed it and said this hadn't been a full moon kind of night yet. And this is just getting weirder by the minute. But Vincent Arthur, he's done a lot of things here on the broadcast, but one thing he hasn't managed to do yet is win one without a right front fender on his car. We'll see
new
whether
one
or
for
not
me.
he can pull that one off here tonight. This is a short track, so like I said, a little minus bodywork is not going to necessarily ruin everything, but I think it's more just a matter of Vincent Arthur being able to handle that car with that damage and know exactly what needs to be done to alter his line and be able to drive with that damage. Conover in front for Flatline Motorsports, and Jacob Gladelich for JRC Sim Team hanging on to that second spot there in the number 7 car. Vincent Arthur, as you mentioned, up 0.8 of a second on his teammate Ronnie Norman, and he will inherit the top spot with just 37 laps to go. As soon as we see these top 2 pit, this is going to give Vincent Arthur the lead once again.
I don't know if he was an option in your poll, but I don't think anyone would have expected this.
He was an option, and in fact, nobody's picked him.
Man, I mean, after he got into the wall, I thought for sure night's over, multiple laps down, and he's able to bounce back. And I think partially the reason you said that, jokingly, that sometimes damage can help. With them being so loose right now, damage in that right front actually tightened that car up. So maybe that's the reason he's able to get off the corners a lot better now with that right front damage instead of being loose.
Excellent point, Christian. And we do see that in real life as well. Weirdly enough, it's both things. Sometimes you bang in a fender or something and it just gives you a little bit more downforce, which is just kind of a weird thing. As we see Arthur going around Gladelich, that's actually not yet for position. That's him getting unlapped from Gladelich and soon to try to unlap himself from Conover. But, it can do also the other side, which is to tighten up the car, which, hey, if it's loose, one thing that you might want to do is tighten up that car, make it easier. You don't have to put the correction into it as you come on and off the corner.
This is going to be really corny, but he does have Red Bull, and it is giving him wings right now. He is flying out front, and looking at that paint scheme, the right front makes it look like a Formula One car. So maybe a little bit of a Max Verstappen rub for him here, but I still think Ronnie is only about 7/10 back. He's got the long run car, like Vincent said, so it's possible that Ronnie can still run him down, but even if Ronnie runs him down and Vincent finishes second, that is still huge for him. So I think at this point, if Ronnie does catch him, I don't know if he'll necessarily block him. They are teammates, so we'll see what happens, but I think he's got to be happy for a top 3 at this point after that crash earlier.
Well, the pace has stayed exactly the same between them. I mean, that gap has stayed exactly where it was at with just over 7.5 tenths there. Just as I say that now, it's starting to come down a little bit, but it was like almost exactly the same. Now 0.8 of a second between Arthur and Norman. So we still wait for Conover to make his pit stop. You see Kristen Berry working down below him, and that is not for position. Certainly Kristen Berry a lap down, and also the 45 there. You see all these cars with fresh tires just able to storm by Conover. But Conover still holding on to that lead spot. Gladelich still holding on to second. And I think both of them just hoping that a yellow comes out and saves them at this point. But that likely won't happen. And then the battle will be on between Flatline Motorsports teammates of Arthur and Norman. But Joey Stats, as was called out by Nick Geilis in the YouTube chat, is currently hanging on to the virtual 3rd place on the track. And here finally comes Josh Conover to pit road, and certainly making a much more sensible approach by diving down there just out of turn 3 instead of trying to just slam it in there off of turn 4.
That was definitely here we go. Another one having trouble on entry. I was just going to bring it up. The entry of pit road to Dover is one of the most difficult in the circuit. We've seen so many crashes in real life happen coming into pit road. Most memorable, I think, would be Matt Kenseth going up over the barrels. So this pit road has been trouble in real life and in iRacing. It's so difficult to get into.
Well, you called it. He did speed. He sped on pit road, didn't Vincent?
No, that was Kleba that sped on pit road.
Okay.
Whenever he had that wild entry there.
Well, we thought it was possible. He locked up his tires, and we thought it might be possible that he had sped on pit road. So I guess he avoided that penalty. But Vincent Arthur, just able to still drive this race car somehow and hold on to the lead. He's doing it over Ronnie Norman, who has no damage to his car at all, as far as we know. Norman was great in the long run, but somehow Vincent Arthur, with a damaged car, is able to not only keep pace, he's now starting to pull out some time on Ronnie Norman in second place. Is there anything that this guy can do behind the wheel, anything that he can't do behind the wheel here in the NORA Cup Series? It's just something else to watch right now.
So what, that car needs to be checked for post-race inspection. Some grip.exe hacks going on here for the 24 car. But we see Ronnie starting to kind of reel him back in. He dropped down to 9/10 back, and now he's back up to about 3/4 back. I think Ronnie, what he did was just backed it off even more, slowed down the pace. That way he can run him down with about 10 to go. Is I think when we're going to see the 33 get up to him. But like I said, getting to him's one thing, but passing him is another. Depends on how generous Vincent's feeling tonight.
Well, and if you want to know how that worked out for Josh Conover, of course, now he's got the freshest tires of everybody, but he is back in 9th place, so he's dropped back considerably with that round of pit stops. I don't know if he'll be able to challenge to come back up there and be with his Flatline Motorsports teammates, but currently he's got a lot of work to do. This one is not for position passing Ronnie Norman here. That's just to get his lap back at the moment, and then he'll have to get back around Vincent Arthur as well, which shouldn't be too much trouble. But once again, he's got to make up a whole lap on everybody just to get back up there. So a lot of work for him to do. Brady Motes looking great now, up in the top 5 solidly, but in that 4th spot, up 8 positions. And Timmy Harper has recovered well. I know that each and every week we see those Facebook posts from Tim Harper talking about how excited he is to get out there on the track, and he's hoping for a good result. Maybe this is going to be the night where he can secure that top 5 and end up getting that Harper Motorsports machine get one of the Harper Motorsports machines up there into the top 5. Kind of surprising to say that. Unfortunately for him, here comes Brandon Dunford, and Dunford able to swap positions with ease over Tim Harper, so he'll take over that 5th spot. Looks like Dunford on tires from lap 200 and Harper on from 191, so I don't know if that's just a product of 9 laps, but looks like Dunford's got a car to march forward and possibly take on Brady Motes. Matthew George was doing excellently up in the top 5. Unfortunately, he's drifted back. Now currently finds himself in 7th. So what was looking like a for sure top 5 for George and possibly more, right now he's going to have to gather it back together. And not that far back down the road, here comes Josh Conover to try to challenge on Matthew George. So still a lot of work to be done, and here you can see already approaching Matthew George is Vincent Arthur, about half a straightaway away. So Vincent Arthur still holding it down, but he's opened up 1.4 seconds on Ronnie Norman now.
Yeah, I'd definitely be curious to see his in-car. I'm thinking he is not having to turn right at all out of the corner because of how that right front damage is. So I'm thinking he just has nice, smooth exits, and you're going to see if you jump on to Ronnie after turn 4 here, after we see what Vincent does through this. I'm thinking Ronnie is struggling more with the looseness here. As you can see, he only turned it right just a little bit there. So definitely a lot tighter now with that damage, and we'll see how Ronnie is doing here as we jump on board with him. See, nice and smooth there on exit. That was smoother than I thought it would be.
Well,
he might just still be saving at this point.
He could be saving, but also these tires may be starting to come in the way that he likes.
Ooh.
So there was a little bit of a slide, though. That
I'll tell you what, it may not look like it was a big moment, but that makes you grab the seatbelt a little bit tighter, because that was loose.
that's that's Christian, you know as well as I do, that is just a little bit away from getting out from underneath Ronnie. I mean, he's not taking it to the level where it's going to do that, but it isn't far away. When you start to feel the car slide through the corner, that's not good. And so definitely Ronnie's going to try to keep it a little bit more under control than that heading forward. But hey, Vincent Arthur, a 2-second lead now over Ron Norman. And this is just turning into, this is turning into the Vincent Arthur show once again. I can't believe it. 13 laps to go here, and he's taking a damaged car from way back. He got into a wreck, and he's come back from it. There are no superlatives for what this guy can do behind the wheel, and each and every week we see it from Vincent Arthur. This week, it's taking a damaged car and running forward. We've seen him do it on the dirt. We've seen him do it on road courses. I mean, he's just something else to watch. One of the phenoms of sim racing, and certainly one of the best in iRacing for sure. Very lucky to have his talent here in the NORA Cup Series. But Ronnie Norman holding on to a solid second place. Here's Joey's stats. He's had a great run tonight, up 11 spots, Christian. This is a podium run of a high level if we've ever seen one. And this would be an awesome night to be able to see and talk to Joey after the race. This would be a very hard-fought podium position for Joey with just 10 laps to go. And then here's Brady Motes. Well, he was in fourth place there just a moment ago, but Josh Conover has stolen that spot, and Josh is on a tear. I don't think he definitely does not have the time to go chase down the leaders, but he might have enough to say about Joey. He's going to have to do a half a second a lap. And
I think he's doing that pace right now.
He is doing that pace. Last lap was 24:36 for Joey and 23:56 for Josh Conover. But now Josh is going to face a little bit of traffic, so that might stand in his way. A lot of traffic here.
Yeah, they're too wide in front of him. He's going to have to navigate this pretty quickly. He's going to maybe look 3 wide. He is. He's going to go down 3 wide here. And Staub going to pull out of that. That was a good move there, being able to pull out of that and go back to 2 wide and let Josh through.
Well,
that might have cost him, though. But I don't think he's going to be able to catch him now.
I don't think so, but he was still doing like 8-9 of a second before, so we'll keep an eye on that either way. Good runs happening. I mean, Josh has still got to be happy even if he only ends up with a 4th. 7 positions gained from where he qualified. I know he's used to top 3s, but again, anytime you qualify in 11th and you end up in 4th, it feels good. It just feels good to end up with a top 5 after starting outside of the top 10. Brady Motes, it looked for a while like he might have a top 3, but certainly still trying to hang on here to a top 5 as he's starting to fall backwards. Brady and Dunford racing side by side. Oh, and indeed,
so this thing might not be over.
We'll continue to watch this battle as it's going on. Dunford given a lunge here to try to steal that 4th spot from, or that 5th spot from Brady Motes.
Yeah, Vincent right now, he is just, please don't wreck here.
Right.
and these guys are battling for a top 5, which is, important for points. So you got to see if Dunford, I don't think it's going to be to the point where, hey, I'm going to move you for 5th. But he's definitely going to push it as hard as he can. As you can see, he's getting underneath Brady Motes here. He's going to send it in. Brady on him tight. And Dunford is going to make the pass.
Cash that check. He's up into 5th. So Brandon Dunford for Nightmare Motorsports manages to move his car up into 5th. Brady really fought him hard there. Next position to fall backwards might be for Timmy Harper to come up and challenge Brady Motes there for that 6th spot. But Tim leading the Harper Motorsports Challenge there. And looking up a little bit further, Josh Conover now 1.3 seconds left to Joey Stats. Just 3 laps to go. It's possible that we might see Conover on the podium, but just 2 laps to go now for Arthur. This has been an absolutely stellar drive for the 20-year-old out of Manchester, Maryland. What a fantastic run he has given this car, and I know that Ronnie Norman must be in awe seeing him be able to do this with a broken car up in front. But this is the white flag lap for Vincent Arthur. Will he be able to hold on? I think so. He's just got one more car that is up there in front. And this is the battle here just behind. There goes Conover. Is he going to try to make the move on Stats? He will. And he'll get by.
Easy pass.
He'll get by there for 3rd spot. Here is Vincent Arthur, and he brings it to the line with victory at Dover. That is round number 11, presented by Abby Sweet Treats.
And that is win number 5 for Vincent this season. I'm just beyond stunned that he's able to win this thing. That's insane. But we've seen it all season pretty much. Flatline 1, 2, 3. This has been a common theme for these guys, finishing all 3 cars in the top 3.
Well, that was one heck of a race here at Dover. We're going to collect ourselves. We'll be right back here momentarily on VirtualRacing.Network with the final results. Vincent Arthur, your winner, as Josh Conover comes up from behind and pushes him to the stripe. We'll be right back here with the final results and Victory Circle discussion. Stay tuned. And I guess we were muted there, but either way, Abby's Sweet Treats presenting sponsor for tonight's race. Abby's Sweet Treats. You saw all those good-looking cookies out there as Vincent Arthur was celebrating in the background. Plymouth, Minnesota, 812-264-1624, abcobb@gmail.com on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, let's go ahead, take a look at the final results. There it is, Vincent Arthur absolutely dominating the show tonight at the end. Unbelievable, because we saw such a great race happening there. I still don't know what quite to say about Dustin Kleba and his pitting, but either way, it is what it is, and Kleba it suffered because of that pit stop, ended up speeding on pit road, and that opened the door for Arthur to not only walk back through the field, but steal the win here at the end. Ronnie Norman, an absolutely solid race here tonight. I mean, it was a second place night all the way around. We'll have to talk to him about that here coming up soon. And, of course, Josh Conover in third place. He had to walk all the way back through the field with a late pit stop. Let's talk to him and find out more here and see what he thought of tonight's race. And we'll take it up with him here in the Abby's Sweet Treats Victory Circle discussion. See if we can manage to pull him in here. Is he already in our waiting room? He is, in fact, in our waiting room, so let's pull him in. Hey, Josh, welcome to the post-race discussion for Abby's Sweet Treats. What a heck of a run by you to somehow end up back in third place. You made that last-second pass with Joey Stats out there. Congratulations, a very hard-fought third place.
I'll be honest, if I was running for points, probably would have done something a little different there, but kind of figured I'm just here for owner's points, and I already got a win in the 25, so it's locked into the playoffs for that. So I was going to try something funky, and I actually didn't think I would gain that much time back. I figured I'd be like 5th or 6th, and then became like 10 to go or so, and I can start seeing them guys again. So I kind of got excited and kept chugging along.
Well, you did an amazing job to chug back through the field, as you said. Tell us what the rest of the night was like. I mean, you weren't doing your typical up there in the front with the second place back there, of Ronnie Norman or one of your other teammates. What would you say was your race like working your way through the field? You didn't get a great qualifying effort either tonight.
Yeah, this would technically be a home race, and I'm kind of disappointed that this would be like my home track. I've just never really run too well here, at least for qualifying. Typically come race time, I kind of figure it out, and I'm just notorious for being a long run guy, and I think the first stage kind of showed that, and then I kind of had a brain fart the rest of the race, forgot what I did in the first stage to save my tires, but it's just, I kind of expected that. I set the time, and I was like 8th or so, I think, at first, and then I was even shocked at being that high, and I ended up starting 11th, but I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't racing for nothing, and I was just kind of trying to save my tires and hope for long runs, and once I pitted and I saw how close Ronnie and Vince were to unlap myself, my only goal was trying to get back to 3rd and make it a 1-2-3 sweep again.
Well, you did manage to get up there and join your flatline teammates. That's not the first time we've seen the three of you up there on the podium. Anybody that you'd like to thank for tonight, to manage to get up there onto the podium? Was it a team effort? Was this just all Josh putting his head down and getting up there? But either way, anybody that you'd like to thank?
It's always a team effort. As much as obviously we all want to win, at least as far as I know anyway. You can ask, anybody in our Discord a question, and typically, we'll tell them what we're doing here or there, or braking here or something like that. Just try and help everybody out. Obviously, like I said, we all want to win, but at the same time, we are a team, so kind of make everybody competitive. Just you guys for the broadcast. Hopefully, come back and watch it, since I actually had a decent finish here for once. Abby's Sweet Treats for the Cup sponsorship. My fiance and I actually won the giveaway. I think the first race you guys did with her being the sponsor, and I will say they were pretty darn good. And I told Corey Danielson, he's an admin with us, I was like, hey, you gotta try and order you some. They're actually really good. And within 5 minutes he goes, okay, order placed. So just anybody watching or in the league, if you watch this back and catches part of the interview, definitely text her on Facebook or do something. I don't know. Get some cookies. They're pretty good, and I'm probably gonna place another order here soon.
Yeah, I'm right behind you, my friend, for my first set as well. I've been salivating over those pictures on our Facebook page. So, hey, it was a sweet race for you, a sweet sponsor, and always great to have you here in the booth. Great job here tonight, Josh. We'll see you next week, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So that is Josh Conover, who steals third place from Joey Stats there with a last-second pass. Christian managed to catch up with Ronnie Norman here in second place. Let's see. Did we get him into the booth? Let's see. There we go. So, hey, Christian, you caught up with Ronnie Norman, who got second.
Yeah, our second place finisher, Ronnie Norman. Not a stranger to the booth at this point. You finished top 3 a lot. Tell us how that night went and how you weren't able to catch a car with no right front. We're still astonished that Vincent finished ahead of you. So tell us what happened there to let that happen.
Just tried to put together a solid night. I feel like I did, but I also feel disappointed because, yeah, I'm wondering too how Vincent was up there. But I mean, I can't really complain because it's another teammate of mine. So, yeah, no, I got second stage 1, second stage 2, finished P2. I guess I can't be too mad, but I'm just kind of beating my head a little bit trying to figure out where I went wrong. And I guess I just burned my stuff up a little bit too much there in that final run. And it kind of planned out the way I wanted to because I was like, all right, well, we're good on long run, so let's get one going here. And I pitted there pretty early. I think I don't know how early I was in the pit window, but I think I pitted with 45 to go. And so I knew it was going to be like who can save their stuff the best. But we found that out. And Vincent definitely saved that up pretty good. And about 20 to go, he just started pulling away from me. And at that point, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's just back her down here and try to stay out of the wall and not spin it out coming out of the corner. Because there toward the end, it was getting a little loose. So can't complain with second. Congrats to Vincent on the win. And I seen old Josh snuck in there for third on the last lap, so another flat line 1, 2, 3. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and you said second is good, but not always great. But it's impressive that you were able to save as much tires as you did. I think the majority of people in the chat voted you to win the race, most likely to win the race. So everyone saw how good you were doing. You did a great job throughout the night, so congrats on second. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or thank for this one?
Yeah, I just want to shout out our sponsor, Abbey Sweet Treats. Definitely want to give a shout out to FanDuel for being on the car. McAllister Reynolds of Columbus, Indiana. We got NOS on there. Shout out to Schneider Graphics for doing all my paint schemes. Definitely want to thank you guys for being up here in the booth. I'm probably going to go back and watch this as soon as we jump off here. Shout out to everybody watching. I know I got Steven, Brooke, Jake out there. Just thanks to everybody that tunes in. And, I think we got an Amber alert. Just shout out to everybody in the league. That was getting green flag runs like that. I feel like we finally came out here and got a race under our belt where we showed what we can do. And it's my left arm right now is throbbing really bad from holding it in the corners. And I didn't turn my fan on. I think I messed up not doing that either. So it was a fun race. I just hate being the first loser. But no, I definitely can't complain about it too much. And we'll move on to Kansas next week.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Next week, Kansas, maybe a better shot for you to get one position better. Again, congrats on second. Trevor, anything you want to add here?
Ronnie, I mean, you're just doing what you need to do to stay up there in the top of the points. I know it seems bittersweet to not be able to take victory, but you look solid all night. You've looked solid all season since we started our coverage here, and we're looking forward to seeing you up there in victory lane again before too long, my friend.
Yeah, anytime you're up there running with Vincent and Kleba, it's definitely it's a good feeling inside. You're like, all right, I'm doing something right here. So hopefully, long season. I'm just glad I got one win under my belt. Hopefully we can grab a couple more and have a fun rest of the year.
All right, good luck at Kansas.
Thank you, boys.
So that is Ronnie Norman. Thank you, Christian, for that great interview. And now we get a chance to pull in the winner of tonight's race. And it's weird to say that he won because that car is missing a corner off of it. And I don't know how in the heck he managed to get up there into victory lane. I think Christian knows better than I do. But hey, Vincent, that was something else, man. Like, what was going on with the car there at the end after that wreck? Did you think that you could get up there and take not only the position from Ronnie, but be able to stay up there in the front? I mean, what was it like driving that broken car up there? And congratulations on victory once again.
Yeah, I'm about as shocked as y'all are. I'm not gonna lie. When that crash happened, I thought I was done. I pulled in the pits, had about 5 minutes of damage. Thankfully, I didn't break a toe link or anything, so the suspension was still intact. And I went out there and I was driving along, and it was a lot looser than it was before, which was the condition that I was dealing with. So I noticed when I first went back out there, I was kind of matching the leaders, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't as bad. And then it got really, really bad right before the end of, I think it was the end of stage 2. I was like, all right, so long run handling's gone. Then I took 4 tires, and surprisingly, that made it looser. So for me, it was really just trying to search around and figure out where I could run where I wasn't getting extremely loose, because the way I drive Dover, it's rewarding over one lap and in a long run, but when you actually have to race around people, it's a little difficult. So I was already loose running the line that I wanted to run, and then with the damage, it made it that much worse. I don't know if the right front was just cooler, so it had more grip, or what it was. So yeah, and then when pit stops happened, I Cleva sped, which gave us an upper hand, and I guess I just had a good in and out of pit road, better than Ronnie. And somehow I just managed to hold on. I mean, I knew if I kept the right rear under me, then I was going to be okay. And I purposely slowed my pace down a little bit at the beginning of that run. And towards the end there, I was pulling away. I was death gripping the wheel, that's for sure. But no, I'm about as surprised as y'all are that I'm up here.
Well, and going back to when we pulled you in at the caution, you had just, managed, or actually at the stage, you had just had the problem with your pit crew not giving you right side tires. And at that point, you had drifted back into the pack. It looked like you were possibly trying to work on some magical, strategy, but you had almost gone a full lap down. To go from there all the way up to the win, it just really shows. I mean, you had to keep your composure here tonight and keep your head down and stay focused and really do anything that you could do to try to, stay optimistic about tonight. Would you say that's the end factor, is that you didn't get discouraged and that you were able to just sort of revolve your strategy as tonight went on?
Yeah, tonight definitely was not a clean race by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, just kind of keep your head down and go. I definitely wasn't in the greatest of moods the entire evening, but that's to be expected when you have a really fast car and then you keep getting setbacks like that. But I just tried to stay as patient as I could. That one run right before the end of stage 2, I pushed pretty hard, and I paid the consequences for it on the other side. So I realized that with the damage that I had, I probably wasn't going to be the fastest car out there. So just do what I can do, keep the car under me, and just try to get the best result possible. And then stuff just kind of played out, and it played into my hands, and I was able to walk out with a victory. But keeping a cool head was probably the biggest thing for me tonight. There was a couple times where I lost my temper over the radio, but those things all resolved themselves, and I didn't crash because of it. So.
Well, fortunately, it wasn't on the radio while we were interviewing you, and that's the main thing. But hey, Vincent, give us a preview next week at Kansas, anything that you're looking forward to, and then also any shout-outs that you have before we close out the broadcast tonight.
Yeah, I'm always looking forward to riding the wall. Anytime you can get up by the wall and actually have speed up there, I enjoy doing that. I got to thank Josh for this opportunity. Got to thank Red Bull for finally hopping on and getting the primary scheme, and 1-for-1 with the Red Bull scheme. So that's good. Got to thank Abby Sweet Treats, Napa, or I guess that's not my sponsor, but still, Exalta, Pepsi, just everybody at Flatline. We put a lot of work in here, and thank you guys for the broadcast. It's wonderful quality, and it's always fun to go back and watch these things.
Well, my pleasure, and it's always great to watch you pull one of these things out of nowhere. Hey, Vincent, fantastic show tonight. We'll see what kind of rabbit you can pull out of the hat at Kansas. Good luck now.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So that is Vincent Arthur, who does it again here tonight at Dover. Gives us a win that we saw coming, then didn't see coming, and then, sure, of course, Vincent Arthur can win minus a right front fender. Hey, Christian, that was something else to watch here. Your final thoughts on tonight and a little preview what we can look forward to at Kansas.
Well, I expected coming in that Dover was going to put on a great show, and these guys did not disappoint. But Kansas, man, I love the track. I'm a winner there in NORA, so I'm kind of partial to that track. But like Vincent said, it's right up against the wall. These guys are going to put on one heck of a show next week as well, like they do every week. So looking forward to that, being here next week to watch that. And I'm still in shock that Vincent pulled this one off. So that's incredible.
I mean, it was an absolutely amazing race from that standpoint. Always love it when we get these nice long green flag runs. It isn't necessarily just a who's got the freshest tires after the yellow towards the end. But, hey, that was a great one, Christian. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week. And along with everybody else, hey, we had so much fun chatting with everybody in the YouTube chat room. Thank you so much, Cody Reeder, Stephen Dombrowski, Megan Beadle, Nick Geilis, checking in with us. And it was just an awesome night. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Until next week at Kansas, we'll be seeing you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, everybody. So long, and buy those Abby Sweet Treat cookies. Smash that like button. Bye-bye.